So again, welcome everybody. My name is Susan, and we're coming from the California Academy of Sciences. Today, we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to read a story, one of my personal favorites, about a penguin that lived at the California Academy. And he is probably the most famous penguin in the entire world. And his name is Pierre. We're going to learn what happened to Pierre and how a scientist named Pam helped him. And also today, we're going to learn a little bit about penguins and get an opportunity to see some more live penguins in action. So today, I can't really see you or hear you, but I'd like to encourage you when I ask questions to maybe turn and talk to, maybe there's somebody in the room with you, say your family or a member or a friend, maybe just a dog or a cat. Go ahead and answer the questions to those people. Or if there's nobody in the room with you, you can shout it out to the screen. Just go ahead and shout it out. I'd like to encourage you to do that. And also there's going to be some opportunity to get up and do some activities. And I'd like you to join me in doing that as well. So, as I said, I'm coming from the California Academy of Sciences. Actually, I'm not at the California Academy, as you can see. I'm in my own room, in my own house, just like most of you are. But I'd love to be at the California Academy. And here's a picture of it. It's in Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. And inside, we have a planetarium where you can see stars and moons and planets. And we have a rainforest where you can see birds and butterflies. And beneath that, there's a big aquarium where there are lots of sea creatures. But today, we're going to African Hall. And so that top picture there, that's African Hall. And if you look really closely on the sides there, you might see some African animal statues. So go ahead and take a close look. I think in the back on the side there, I see a zebra, I think. And then what's that up in that tree? Do you notice that? Well, today we are going to the very back of the African Hall to see our African penguins. So before we get started, let's look closely at our African penguin. Oh, yes, it's your turn. Come on out. Here's my friend, an African penguin. I'd like you to take a look at him. What kind of animal is he? What kind of animal is this? It's a penguin, but what are penguins? Go ahead and shout it out. I can't really hear you. Go ahead, just a little louder. What kind of animal is this? No, it's not a giraffe. Nope. Right. It's a bird. But how do we know it's a bird? Let's look more closely at our friend here. So he's got a beak like a bird. You can go like this. Beaks. Make a beak with your hand. He's definitely got a beak like a bird. He's got some wings, just like birds. So you can flap your wings like birds. Let's do some flapping. And oh, look, he's got some feet. They kind of look like duck feet to me. They're kind of webbed. You can go like this for the feet. And oh, he's got a little tail. Birds have tails. Sometimes I see them flapping their wings and shaking their tails at the same time. Can you do that? It's like a little bird dance. Yeah, let's see everybody up and do their wing flapping and tail shaking. Good job. And then also, what do they have? They have feathers, right? All birds have feathers, and my little guy here is covered with feathers. Okay, so they definitely have things that all the body parts that birds have. But I think we'll find they use those body parts a little differently than most birds, say like robins or blue jays that I might see in my backyard. So let's take a look, first of all, at how they use their wings. So penguins are too heavy to fly. They have very, very heavy bones, so they don't fly in the air. But let's see how they do use their wings. Let's take a look at this video. Whoa. It's almost like they're flying underwater. Take a look at that. Nice. So they can go like 4 miles per hour normally underwater, but they can even go up to 15 miles per hour if they're after a fish, a yummy fish for dinner. So they're pretty fast swimmers. They're also, yeah, look at that. They're using their wings underwater. So for a chubby bird, sorry, I think they actually are pretty graceful. But how do they move on land? Let's look at that a little bit. So this is a picture of of a beach in South Africa. This is actually the wild habitat, the wild home of where our African penguins would live in the wild. And you can see a lot of them are on rocks or on sand. They spend a lot of time in the water, but also quite a bit of time on land. And interestingly, they can walk in a particular way when they're on land. So I think all of you know how penguins walk. I'd like to give you an opportunity to do a little penguin walk. So let's go ahead and maybe walk around the room, get up and waddle around the room. So I'm going to go do that as well. Everybody up and let's do some waddling. Everybody waddling? I'm waddling. Yeah. So when you waddled, what were you doing with your knees? They were kind of straight, weren't they? So this is the really weird thing about how penguins move. Their knees are actually up inside their bellies. Their knees are inside their bodies. So they really can't bend their knees. And if you actually think about it, think about the knees as being right next to your belly buttons. That's the way a penguin walks. Go ahead and try walking with your knees next to your belly button. Can you do that? I'm going to give it a shot. Walk with your knees next to your belly button. Oh, that's kind of hard on my knees. But that's how penguins walk on land. So another thing that penguins have that are very interesting are feathers. So all birds have feathers, but penguins have 2 sets of feathers. They have the downy feathers. It's like a first layer of feathers that keep them warm. And then they have a second layer of feathers that kind of lock, those feathers lock next to each other and cover the downy feathers. And the first layer of downy feathers keep them warm, and that second layer of locked feathers keep them dry. That second layer is waterproof. So it's sort of like if I were going out and it was cold, I might wear a down jacket. I might wear something like this. I put it on. It's got little feathers in it. It's a little vest. It's got feathers. I'd be warm, but I wouldn't want to go in the rain because then those feathers would get all wet and I'd get cold. But I might put a raincoat on top, like this. I can put a raincoat on top of my vest, and then I have 2 layers. And so that's kind of like what a penguin does. So I'm not gonna keep that on today because I'm a human, not a penguin. I'm gonna take that paraphernalia off. But that's the way penguins use their feathers. So today we're gonna read a story about Pierre, and Pierre has a problem with his feathers. And we're gonna hear a little bit more about that in this story. So this is the exciting part of the program. We're going to read Pierre the Penguin, which is a true story by Jean Marzola and illustrated by Laura Regan. So let's go ahead and read this book. Down at the end of African Hall, past statues of animals, big and small. There's an aquarium wide and tall with real live penguins, 20 in all. African penguins don't like ice. For them, a warmer place is nice. Ah, here comes Pam with fish in her pail. The penguins are fed twice a day without fail. Pam enters the tank through the sky-painted wall. A hidden door there leads out to a hall. Some of the penguins look just the same. So here's some pictures of the 3 of those penguins in that picture. Do they look just the same? What's different about them? Do you notice? Go ahead and shout it out or tell somebody in your room, how are these penguins different? How would we be able to tell them apart? Yeah, so we put little bands on the penguins. You can see there's a blue one here and a red one there. And the penguins, we can tell the penguins apart by the color of their bands. We can also tell if 2 of them are partners with each other, they get the same color. And also we can tell if it's a boy penguin or a girl penguin, because the girl penguins have the bands on their left side. So this one would be a girl penguin. And then the boys have them on their right penguins, on their right wing. So these 2, you can see they both are red. They might be partners. So that's how we tell them apart. So some of the penguins look just the same, but wing bands help Pam call the birds by name. One day, aquatic biologist Pam, observing the penguins, saw one in a jam. Gently, gently, she examined Pierre. His feathers were gone. His bottom was bare. Ooh, that's odd. Pierre was afraid to go for a swim. He got too cold if he dived right in. How can I help you? What can I do? Pam had some ideas and tried the first 2. So let's think for a moment. How would you help Pierre? He lost his feathers. His bottom was bare. He was afraid to go in the water because he was too cold. What do you think would help? I'll give you a few moments to think and think about how you might help Pierre. And you can say it out loud. How would you help Pierre? He lost his feathers and he was too cold to swim. So Pam tried a heater and the vet prescribed pills, but nothing worked. Pierre shivered still. You can shiver. Poor Pierre. The other penguins grew afraid of Pierre. He looked so strange that he gave them a scare. They brayed at him as he shivered on shore. They made him feel worse than he felt before. So do you know what braying is? It's the noise that a donkey makes. Go ahead and make the noise that a donkey makes. Hee-haw, hee-haw. Here's a little video. Wow. 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 I would be upset if I were Pierre. I wouldn't want all my friends braying at me like that. That's quite a racket. So one rainy day, biologist Pam came up with a new idea. Shazam! So she came up with this idea when she was walking her dog in the rain. What do you use to stay dry in the rain? I mean, I just put on a raincoat. I just had one on a few moments ago. My dog wears a raincoat, she told the vet. Could Pierre wear a wetsuit? The vet said, you bet. Pam and a friend worked day and night to make a pattern that fit just right. Then a wetsuit was made of neoprene, the tiniest one you've ever seen. So can you think of anybody that has actually been in a wetsuit? Have you ever seen anybody in a wetsuit? So I know when I go to the California coast, up here in Northern California, the water is really cold there. And I'm kind of like Pierre, I'm shivering on shore, but some people put on wetsuits and go into the ocean. Maybe they go surfing or swimming. And at the California Academy, if any of you have been to our coral reef aquarium, we have divers that dive in there and they have on wetsuits. What a good idea Pam had. Carefully, Pam put on Pierre a wetsuit a featherless penguin could wear. So maybe with this wetsuit, he won't be so cold in the water, even though he doesn't have feathers. Standing on a rock in his new wetsuit, Pierre the Penguin looked mighty and cute. He felt nice and warm and he wanted to swim. So what did he do? He dived right in. Yay! Now Pierre stood proud and tall, and nobody brayed at him at all. 6 weeks went by, and then a surprise. Pam could hardly believe her eyes. Not only was Pierre no longer cold, he had new feathers. Observe and behold. Now warm in water, now warm on shore. Guess who didn't need his wetsuit anymore? Pierre made a nest for his very best friend. Their story goes on, thanks to Pam. The end. Oh, what a great story. I love stories that end so happily. Pierre, thanks to Pam, was able to get back in the water and be healthy again. So here is a photo of real life Pierre. You can see there he has his wetsuit on and he also has his armband. So people always ask, what happened to Pierre? Is he still at the academy? Well, he lived to be 33 years old. And that is really, really old for a penguin. In the wild, if they were in the wild in South Africa, they would probably only live to be 15 years or maybe 18 years. And Pierre lived to be 33. And he had 3 partners, 16 chicks, 27 grand chicks, and 11 great grand chicks, and still counting. So he has quite a family, and they now live all over the world because the California Academy has given them to different zoos and aquariums. So he has quite a family that he left behind, and he had lived a long and happy life. So before we end though, I wanted to show you, we have lots of chicks at our academy, penguin chicks over the years. We've had many. And I wanted to show you a little bit about those little baby penguin chicks. So when penguin chicks are first born, they just have those downy feathers. They just have baby downy feathers. They don't, and they're not waterproof. They don't have that second layer that's like a raincoat on top of the downy feathers. So when the baby chicks are first born, they can't even swim. So at the academy, we take them behind the scenes to fish school. And I have a little video here to show you what happens to baby penguins in fish school. And there's biologist Amy with a very cute little penguin. So he's probably under 3 months old. He's still got his baby downy feathers. Very, very cute. Oh, so cute. So he can't go swimming yet because they keep him warm, but not dry. But when he gets a little bit older, like these, he can go in the water, and he goes in the water with other penguin babies, and they learn to swim together. They make friends. They go to school and they learn how to get along with other penguins so that they can be put out in the exhibit, and then we can all see them. So that's it for our story and penguin time today. And I would like to thank you and encourage you when you feel safe. Hopefully we'll all be back at the California Academy soon. But before then, go ahead and you can watch on the webcam. You can watch our penguins any time of day or night and see what they're doing. So thank you very much. And have a good day. Bye.